Thank you, Pastor. And actually, I'd like to thank the leadership of the church that give me this honor and the privilege to speak to all of you. Right. I also like to thank the Sanchez family. Bobby Sanchez is not here yet. He's supposed to pick me up after this, but he's not here yet. But he is our campus Philippines, right? We are well taken care of, right? I mean, from moving from one place to another. And this morning, I started by sharing, I pray for those that are here for a first service. I know majority of you are not here for a first service, but some of the supporters are here for a first service. I'm a bad person in the morning. Like my co-colleague from Latin America, I don't know what I talk about. So you guys got the privilege because, you know, I have my caffeine rush done, right? And then watching the time. And also that this morning I'm supposed to talk in Techlish. So I'm trying to put some of my Singlish into the Techlish, and I wonder they understand why I've spoken to them or not. Actually, I'm thankful for the Lord to bring us here. Actually, we have a great time so far, right? I mean, we spoke in the seminary 2 days ago, and then we're here to speak to you. And this is the English congregation, right? Yes? Okay, we are alive or awake, right? My plea to the first service was that move to the front, but looking at the crowd, you no need, right? And because some of the slides that I have, it's not meant to be read. Then why am I putting that up? You know, like speakers, typically we need to put slides, but actually we don't take a look at it. We just speak what the Holy Spirit tells us. And I'd like to thank your pastor for giving me this chance to kickstart your series of Haggai. You all read on Haggai chapter 1, verse 3 to 7, right? I'm not going to preach on Haggai, actually, but that's where the reference text comes from. Okay, let me start. This is a black and white picture of Singapore, all right? And that's how I typically introduce myself, where I live, right? This is a picture taken in 1965. I think there's no color pictures or photos yet. That's the reason why it's in black and white, right? And that's the year in which Singapore is born, or we gain our independence, all right? And I want to show you what happens. Same place, 2015, all right? From 2015, now we're in 2016, not much change, right? I mean, there are changes, but that's it. Singapore River, if you've been to Singapore, same place. The bridge don't change, right? So it's the same, okay? 2015, a night view of Singapore. Lovely, isn't it? Beautiful place. Okay, but it's a small place. Let me introduce a little bit about Singapore. We have humble start. When our elder or brother on the north kicked us out in 1965. We have nothing. We even have to buy water. That's how we start, right? We have to buy our own water. Singapore is an island, small place, 5.7 million today, but well, the leaders of Singapore have a dream, and we achieve what we have today. Today, Singapore is a developed country. In terms of GDP per income, we are about 85% as compared to the US. Not bad for a small place, right? Not bad for a small place. Then why am I showing you all this? Not only that I'm introducing myself, I find that when I speak in the different countries, you folks are very near to Singapore, so you know more about Singapore, right? When I speak in Guatemala, which is Central America, they don't know that Singapore exists. I tell them it's a small red dot on the map that you cannot find. Quite true, isn't it? Unless you do a Google map and you have to expand and expand a lot, then you find Singapore. Typically, we are ambassador of the country. When we go and speak, we got to talk about our country. People are interested to know our late father of the nation, Lee Kuan Yew, and etc. I become an ambassador. But more important, I am ambassador of Christ as well as the ministry I'm in. And that's what our identity and the purpose. And I'm sure it's the same purpose each and every one of you have. Typically, I make the congregation read the verse because it is yours and my purpose. It's also our pledge. So let's do it. Matthew 8:28, verse 18 to 20. Shall we start? And Jesus came out and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Notice the purpose. Make disciples. Not that we are evangelizing to have believers. It is also our responsibility to make disciples, to observe all. Observe all. You folks are privileged. Why? Because your pastors, the leaders in this church started you off well. You have this spoken to you on a topic of money up front. In a number of years I'm in church, I don't hear this being preached on the pulpit, actually, right? The only time this is mentioned is that, hey, the church needs funds. Isn't it? But your leaders take the step, all right? Take the step to educate you, in this matter. Now, notice the word observe. Observe in the English dictionary will tell you to know, to see, to perceive. But when Christ said this to us, it's for us to follow, to obey, to fulfill. Do you all get that? To get it? To obey, to fulfill. Of course, to follow, right? So, where I represent, I am the director for Asia Pacific, so I serve the region. I must say this, it's not an organization that's born this week because we arrived Philippines this week, right? It's founded by Howard Dayton. He is in Florida, USA, 42 years ago. So this is not an organization that live by the fly or live by the night, means born yesterday, today, and tomorrow we are gone. Tomorrow we may be gone because we are going back to Singapore, right? But the ministry is here. Bobby Sanchez is Campus Philippines. He's the director for Campus Philippines. Of course, we have Michael. Michael is with us. He is the massive one, right? And he's representing Singapore for Campus, right? I have 12 countries which range from Australia to Indonesia to Sri Lanka, to Singapore, to Malaysia, to Thailand, to Vietnam, to China, and to Korea. If you're paying attention, I didn't list all of them, right? Did I list all of them? 12? No. Michael says no, means because I missed off one Cambodia, right? So 12 countries, right? Campus has been there for 42 years. He have reached more than 35 countries. More than 50 million has gone through the program, right? So it's a good start, all right? Now, let me go to today's topic, and that is how much is enough. And I chose this topic because I believe that Bobby Sanchez have started off with why you should study or why you should learn about money, handling money God's way. So This is like the sequel. Sequel means, you know what sequel, right? First show, and then this is the second show. Second show. So, yeah. Okay. Question. How much is enough? It's a simple, easy questions, but kind of like difficult to answer, isn't it? You all agree with me? How much is enough? Right? The world, the market will tell me that for me to retire, probably in Singapore we need about 3 million Sing dollars. Sorry, I'm not going to convert it into pesos. It's too early for me, right? So you can convert it yourself, right? It's about 3 million. The world will tell you that, but is that the answer? Is that the answer? I hope that this is an important question to each of you, and through the half hour that I'm given, you will realize, unveil some gems, some precious gems that you can take away. Right? That will impact your life. That is what we pray for. You have read this, right? Haggai chapter 1, verse 2 to 7. I'm not going to repeat because you all have already read that, but I want to emphasize just on two of the verse, which is, now therefore says the Lord of hosts, which is our God, the Lord of hosts. He says, consider your ways. And he repeat again in verse 7. Now, if you notice anything that's mentioned in the message twice, it's not like your wife that's telling you twice, but the Lord tell you twice, it means that it's important and you better take note. You better take note. The situation here is that the temple or the place of worship for the Lord is in ruins, right? But then the houses of the believers are beautiful. What happens? What's the consequence of that? You'll notice, because it's very much agriculture, you sow much but you harvest little. You sow much but you harvest little. Okay? You have eaten, but not enough. Not enough. You have drank and not be filled. You work. I'm sure all of you work, right? You earn money, you put in the bag or in the wallet, and there are holes. It leak out. That is the results of not taking care of the Lord's temple, isn't it? In this situation here. To us, we can interpret it as obedience. So let's go through the questions. This is a Greek philosopher, Epicurus, and he says, nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little. Enough is too little. Why? Because each and every one of us, inside us, we always have a new desire. A new desire. And external forces itself is not helping, right? The advertisements, the TV you watch, the magazines you read will create new needs, new desire. Isn't it? Let me just give you an example, right? You could be wanting a car. So you pray. Maybe, but you already have a motorbike, by the way. It says, Lord, it will be good if you can give me a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW. Right? The world will tell you that. For the ladies, maybe you have already one handbag, a red handbag that suits your outfit for the day, red. You know, but that is just Monday. Maybe you can ask for 7, so you have different bags every day. Right? The world pressurizes you to create new. The world pressurizes you to create the new needs. That you will not be seen wearing the same thing, repeat within the week, or, you know, it be your handbags, your shoes, your watch, your iPhone. You know, there's always a craze to drive. There's always a craze to go for the latest iPhone 7. It's a new need, a new desire that is created in us. And we can't sleep well night time. right? You slept and you says, God, how come my new iPhone or my new car haven't come? And you get frustrated. You will get frustrated. Let me move on. So who's this guy? This is John Rockefeller. He is an oil tycoon, all right? And he is also a philanthropist. And if you ask him how much is enough, he will just tell you a little bit. It came as very tame, just a little bit. Okay, and that's what the market will tell you. A little bit more. All right, and there is a danger with that, right? So who is this guy? Dr. Thomas Selleck. He wrote the book Economics of Good and Evil. He is one of the top 5 economists in the world of modern days, which is like today. Okay, and he says this. Again, no need to read all. I just highlight a few words that he said, right? The more we have, the more we want. Why? The more we have, the more we want. Scroll down everything. I got no time to read for everything. For consumption is like a drug addict, right? So what is the meaning of a drug? It's not medicine, by the way, right? It is a drug. When you take it, you can't stop. Consumption is that way. You can't stop. Right? That's why we are unpacking the topic today. How much is enough? Drug addict is a sickness. And a lot of us, including myself, through the journey of life, even I have taught this, I learned this, we are still unpeeling. Unpeeling. Okay? Ansel Grun, he is a monk, by the way, Franciscan monk, and he said this. Why we bring his picture up? Because he is actually a director of a group of enterprises. No, he's a monk, by the way. He has a group of enterprises in South Germany, and he said this. The desire for possession is a desire for rest. Remember just now I told you, right? You want an iPhone, you can't sleep until you get your iPhone, you queue up just to get an iPhone, but then it's your turn, it says sold out, last one already gone. You unrest, right? And perhaps the solution of possession is to get your rest. On the contrary, it's actually, instead of having the possessions is having you. It's possessing you because of the desire. Okay, this one, a lot of words, but let me refer to what are my notes because I'm not going to read everything, right? Every increase of needs tends to increase one's dependence on the outside forces over which one cannot have control. Control, right? Control is the key word. Do we have control in our life? Just now I already said, right? Possession is possessing you and not the other way. All right? You are losing control now for your pursuit of possessions. What will happen? Tensions being created, all right, and then it may give you ultimate causes of strife and war. In the campus, we term this financial bondage. Bondage comes from the word called slave. Slave. Why are we a slave? Okay, it's the same. Let me give you one scenario, and I go through the Bible because you all may think, why is this guy talking about nothing reference to the Bible? All right. Financial bondage, or when a slave when you're not happy with what God has blessed you with. Let me repeat. Financial bondage is when you're not happy with God, what God has blessed you with. You walk with a dollar note in front of you. Money is in front of your eyes. Let me bring you back to the story of Adam and Eve. You all know the story of Adam and Eve, right? The fall, I think everyone knows the story, right? God gave a command, you shall not eat the apple of the tree. No? It's not an apple. All right, I like that because he corrected me. My wife did that. My wife did that and says that, hey, it's not an apple. The Bible didn't say apple. Right? But why do you think I say apple? Because the market tells me this, all men got Adam apple. What do you call Adam apple? Because of the fall. Adam ate the apple and choked. The world can twist the word. The world can twist the truth of the Bible. Simple illustration, and that creates the fall. Right? By the way, I hope you all don't go out of this place and then your pastor will come and see me and correct me that, hey, what you teach my congregation is the apple. It's not the apple, it's a fruit. But whether it's an apple or not, I don't know. We can debate about that, right? Because a fruit, apple is still a fruit in my knowledge, all right? In my knowledge, it's still a fruit. But that creates the fall. Why do you think the fall is all about? You think it's because they eat the fruit? or it's because of obedience? God gave clear instructions. The couple didn't observe it, didn't obey, and that's why the fall. Financial bondage, same. We are not happy with what God is giving us. Okay. Just now we talked about the fall, and then, which is reference back to the Bible. This is even more words than previous slide. Not going to read it, but just pay attention to this. What induced one man to use false weights? You all know what's false weight? Businessman, right? You use false weight. You buy 1 kg of rice, they give you only 80 grams. False weights. Huh? Another to set his house on fire after having insured it. Why? Because you collect money, right? So, and then while they found 2/3 of the upper class indulged in legalized fraud. That is unbecoming of character, isn't it? Especially believers. Especially believers. Because your integrity is down the drain. Down the drain. Okay? You don't want to do that. And you will be doing that because you have lost control, as I mentioned a while ago. The pulling force and the power that pull you away, attracted by money, wealth, and possession, is huge. That is the reason why we have this topic called, how much is enough? Now back to basics. I hope that from now onwards, while I'm unpacking it, rather than go through all the economies, right, while we're unpacking it, I hope that you bring home something. Matthew 6:24-28, it says, no one can serve two masters, for either he hates the one and loves the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. This is a new version, right? This is a new version. And they use the word money, okay? The verse money is actually called mammon, right? In Arabic, it's actually mammon. And what is mammon? Mammon is wealth, possessions. How you represent yourself wealthy. By your possessions, by the money you have, by the big house you have, the car you drive, the bags that you have. You choose between the two, right? Do you want to be following God, or You want to follow mammon. In case those that say, yeah, I love the Lord, so I'm going to follow the Lord. But my wallet is mine. My possession is mine. Ask yourself that question, okay? Who are you following? I'm going to go on, right? And then you will know what happens. Okay, Bobby is here. Thank you for joining us. Bobby tells me that the congregations have businessmen, pastors, and lawyers and doctors. So quite complex congregations. That's why some of the slides I use here are meant for you guys, right? The law of diminishing returns. Any of you understand the law? No? No? Okay, I have puzzled face, I have knocked heads. Okay, the law of diminishing returns is this, right? Let me give an example. I always look at Michael, so I must use his example. He's trying to lose weight, including me. 10 pounds. 10 pounds. I know I've been using from kg, just now was kg, right now I'm pound. Pound is easy. 10 pounds, because that's my target. 10 pounds. I'm trying to lose weight. Okay? The first 8 pounds, which is 80% of what I'm trying to do, is easy. What do? I start exercising, I stop sugar, I watch my diet. I can easily get the 8 pounds. But the last 2 pounds is very, very difficult. I probably had to spend a lot of energy, effort, and whatnot in order to get the 2 pounds. This is the law of diminishing return. Okay? Likewise in this graph, likewise in whatever we are trying to talk about today, right? In the horizontal is the money spent. I know all of you got money, you spend money, all right? On the vertical is fulfillment or satisfaction or contentment, all right? You will spend 20% of your money, okay, to get 80% of fulfillment. Partly because of survival, right? And I explain to it what is it. And what is it that you spend? Basic comforts. Let me go on, elaborate more, just in case you guys don't understand. What is the basic comforts? Needs. Right? Bible in 1 Timothy 6:8 says this, right? For you shall be content when you have what? Food and clothing. Food and clothing. House not included. I saw someone smile, yeah, because maybe big houses, huh? Yeah, I live in pigeonholes, by the way. I live in pigeonholes. In Singapore, you call it pigeonholes. Okay? House not included. Of course, but God is always, God is always gracious. He gives us house to live in, right? So, yeah, food, clothes, shelter. Basic needs, okay? You guys get what I'm saying, right? You understand? My English is okay? I just switched tongue because in the morning I have to preach in Techlish. Now I speak in English, which is actually Singlish. So I hope you understand me. Obligations. Obligations are, for example, like your taxes. I'm sure you have to pay income tax, property tax, right? Or maybe obligations like utilities. Pastor highlight this morning, which is good, right? Utilities that you have to pay because you live in a house, you better make sure you have aircon or fan in the hot weather in Manila, right? Your utilities, your obligations to your family, your children needs to be educated. Realize that someone that comes in late always catches my attention, so they will be my illustration and example, right? You need to pay the education for your children. So these are obligations. In Singapore, we have to pay our parents as filial piety. We have to pay, right? Not that they need it, but, we have to, for their well-being. For their well-being. All right? Now, God is not a spoil sport. You use the term here, right? Spoil, yeah, kill joy killer. Right? He is not. He's not. He allows us to have some desires because He knows us. He knows our hearts. Doesn't mean that I cannot. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have an iPhone 7, but I can have an iPhone, right? In that sense. If you have reached to there and God says, yeah, I'll bless you with it. I hope I'm not coming across that all believers are supposed to be poor. No. The Bible did state, and the Bible did have stories of rich men. Just name you 2 examples. Abraham is definitely very rich, right? The other person will be probably Joseph. Daniel, well, not as clear, but these 2 gentlemen are rich. They are rich, but they are confined within the blessings from the Lord. Because the Spirit will be with each or every one of us. The Spirit will tell you, hey, what is blessings from God and what is meant for you to give away. Yes? Yes? Okay. So, now, why in this circle? We call it closing the circle. Closing the circle, I will explain a little bit more on the graph that we have. But closing our circle means that what? I have enough. Yeah? Isn't it? I have a place to stay, I have my transport, I have my family needs catered, and I have a little bit of leisure or pleasure or desires met. Okay? That is enough. And I acknowledge the provision from God. Provision from God, right? Not from myself. And that's where protection and blessing comes. This is something that is not within me, right? Provision, protection, blessings never comes from me. Let me move on to stuff that I have a while ago. Remember I said about this? Okay. You continue your basic comforts, and then you start spending still on your luxuries. Yeah? Instead of a pigeonhole for me, maybe a big house that is near Manila because of the traffic jam. Maybe a garden because I have a dogs to take care of. You know, a dog can run around. I have children. I have grandchildren, by the way. So maybe that's the way to go. But you notice that the curve is coming down. What does that mean? It means that your fulfillment is dropping. In fact, it's not slowly increasing, but it is dropping. What happens is this, right? Our spending habit tends to be what? Right? We buy things that we don't need to please people that we actually not supposed to impress, or people that we don't love, right? With money that we don't have. The world is behaving this way, right? But God, in His truth, teach us otherwise. So, and this will continue, by the way. This will continue. The graph doesn't end there. The graph continues until RIP. You all know what's RIP, right? Okay. RIP means 6 foot by 3 foot underground, right? I always enjoy to see when the congregation smile, or, you know, when they, yeah, agree with you. But I want to tell you serious things now. We have encountered cases of people that are almost to the age of suicide, taking their own lives because of debt, because of financial bondage. We may laugh, we may smile, but we are a community to help people, right? I'm actually very blessed to not only speak here, but also to hear the sharing of the testimony, in which you all will get it afterwards. I am touched. Main reason is because you have a community here, and you need to pull one another. In the US, okay, a high percentage of divorces are because of money. So, I love the smile. I acknowledge it and thank you for it. But we need to watch. Okay? We need to say, isn't it no-brainer, right? Stop here lah. This is English now. Stop here lah. Okay? Typically, I never, the first service didn't get that lah anyway. So, what can you do with that? You need to make a decision when you reach that to do otherwise. Build assets. I'm going to unfold on that quickly, all right? And to invest for the good. Back to the Bible in Acts 20:35. No time to go in details. But it said it's more blessed to give than to receive, all right? Generosity. Building assets, all right? I will elaborate more on generosity, but assets will be very quickly, all right? Another verse in Proverbs 25:28 says, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Remember a while ago I talked about self-control? The antidote and the Lord tell you is this: hey, you lack self-control. How do we gain back our control? In which the world is pulling you away. Don't underestimate the power of that. All right? Now, what happens is you have part of a desire that is as very big. God didn't say that you should have so big a desire. What will happen? Right? You will make sure you work harder, or you go into debt, borrow with a credit card, or somehow borrow from someone in order your desire to be fulfilled. All right? Your circle becomes bigger. And then when the recession comes, yeah, that is English anyway. Right? So you're in trouble. In the God's economy is for you to close your circle. God will not pour in any more funds or money or assets or blessings into your life if you don't close your circle. It's like a black hole. God will not keep on pouring resources into a black hole that have no results. He will only give you overflow when you can manage it. Okay? Go back and reference it to 2 Corinthians 8 and 9. No time. All right? Let me elaborate on building assets. Building assets, right? Focus on, not on money, as I mentioned, right? But focus on assets, which is wealth. Now, assets, wealth, in this case, is to be able to share with other people. Open hands. Open hands. Huh? It's a term that I have. So you're going to get used with me, all right? Asset to give power to wealth, not only to material wealth that we can enjoy or to impress people. There is a limit. We need to make a decision when it's enough, all right? But also, we need to be assets in what? Physical wealth. Physical wealth as in healthy body. That's why we are going on diet. Well, the Lord cannot use a sick body, right? In a sense. I cannot be here if I'm sick. Emotional wealth, enjoy inner strength. Inner strength in which the Lord can build in each and every one of us, right? So in terms of crisis, we know how to stand. We know what to do based on the truth of the word. Time well, you build relationship. You build relationship with community within your church, outside in your work. You build a community of relationship, right? 2 laws in which the Lord mentioned, or Jesus Christ mentioned as important, right? I'm not going to ask from you what are the 2 laws because of time, right? Love the Lord with and love your neighbor like yourself, right? How do you love your neighbor when you don't build a relationship? Right? I always like to give an illustration of what it means by love your neighbor. A husband and a wife, for example. Husband and wife, husband always says, darling, I love you. Sounds good, isn't it? I don't know whether the Philippines men are expressive or not, but Singapore, we does that. Right? We always say to our wife, I love you, you know. Yeah, but comes birthday only, I also say, darling, I love you. You are in trouble. Isn't it? You are in trouble because your wife expects something. How relationships are built. It's likewise the same. Someone needs clothing, food, and he says, I pray for you. Bye. What happens to the action? Right? It's your homework. It's part of the program for you to go through. Matthew 25, 35, 45. My favorite. You know why? Because it's easy to remember. It's 25, 35, 45. Okay? Your hope. Not going to go into that. Spiritual wealth, that's where you engage into God's activity and God's blessings. Financial wealth, God give you that so that you can share. Now, some examples, right? You can be building home for assets, education, retirement, business inheritance, and generosity. Examples. The list can be very long. It depends on how the Lord impress you on your asset, all right? But I want to dwell more on generosity, okay? There's this Dr. Tony Ock. This is in the papers, in the UK papers in November 2009, all right? He is an academic. He's not a businessman like a lot of us. Academics don't make a lot of money, right? I don't know in Philippines, but in UK, definitely not. They don't make a lot of money, okay? But through some conversation in seminary, I began to gather that it's likewise in Philippines. They don't make a lot of money, all right? Dr. Toby, he makes 33,000 pounds a year. Convert it for yourself. Maybe I convert it for you. 33,000 pesos a year. I don't know how much that is, but he pledged to give $1 million through his career. Is it possible? Being an academician and a researcher, he did his calculation. Yeah, it's possible to give 1 million in his 35 years of work. In his 35 years of work, all right? I'm not going to go through that, right? But I want to show you, folks, what did he do and is it possible? Okay? I'm spending time here. He started in 2009, right? And he was in the UK papers. He made 33,000 pesos. He kept his expenses at 20,000. Kept at 20,000 pesos. Anything above, he give away. Anything above, he give away. So, in your congregation, don't ever ask your pastors how much is supposed to be tithing. I will give you an answer. Anything above 20,000 pesos has to be given away. Okay. I saw a response. Now, but is it a life that is like, no, you always in lack, you always have not enough? No, it's not. Okay, let me roll on. Dr. Toby, right? He ran a house, 5,000 pesos every year. Okay? His living expenses, 4,000. And the rest on saving for a house because he wants a bigger house, right? He's renting a house, right? Sometimes it makes economical sense to buy a house, right? So, he's saving that and for holidays. Before I go on, right, while he was doing this, he made some sacrifices, I must tell you. He has lots of peer pressures. The professors that is around him has big houses, got fast cars, travel when they have school vacations. He gave that out. All right? He gave that out. He's still renting a house. He out twice a fortnight and have coffee, maybe a Starbucks. Maybe a Starbucks, okay? Now, it may not mean a lot to you folks here because I just gathered from Bobby and Debert, right, that eating out in Philippines is cheap. I can have 1 pesos across the street, a school meal. Is it school meal? School meals, right? Or something like that, Eating out is cheap in Philippines because it's possible to get out. It's not the case in UK, by the way. It's not the case in the UK. Likewise, in Singapore, it's expensive to eat out. So one way of cutting budget is eat at home. You cook, right? You cook at home. And typically what we do is we cook more. For dinner, we cook more because then you take care of my tomorrow's lunch. I'm just giving examples, right? How to do that, right? Here's coffee once a week. Of course, if you tell me coffee once a week, you don't see me. I'm not coming Philippines because I'm a coffee addict. I need my caffeine, all right? So, but God has been good. You know, He has been always blessing me with coffees so that He knows that I need energy, right? His interest, right? But reading, listening music, photography, meeting friends. He also have gadgets. He have Mac, Apple Mac, and he has an iPhone, but no TV. Okay? Now, God don't create us to be a single soul. God created us to be a people of community. All right? Simple illustration is that for evangelism, it needs someone to tell someone about Christ, then the person can be a believer, right? Am I right? Do you see someone become the believer without someone telling them? No, isn't it? Okay? God also created us a believer, a group of community. I love the sharing that is going to be having afterwards according to your pastors. And you will realize the beauty. To me, a community is a sign and a wonder. When a group of believers together, okay, when groups of believers can gather together, and your common cause is to help the next believer within your church, your congregation, your cell group, your community, there is sign and wonder. It will never happen in the world out there. It will never happen, I can tell you. Why? The world out there is fighting for self. I is more important. That's why you have iPhone, iPad, iMac. You all may be laughing. You all may not know. I used to work for Apple. It's one of the MNCs I work. And guess which department I work? I work in the marketing, business development. It may sound like a joke, which was shared, right? But the truth is this. The power of branding and influencing your brain. That's why I have an iPhone. People's self-esteem suddenly raised through the roof like my caffeine. Yes. Okay? That's the reason why. Community. What's the results of that? In May 2015, now if you think I'm just quoting this bogus story, no. Okay? Go to this website called givingwhatwecan.org. All right? It's still a live site to go. All right? He gathered about 1,371 members to do the likewise he did. Okay, they are pledging 10% before tax to this cause, giving what you can. Guess how much they have raised? 527 million pounds, by the way. There's some typo error here, I think, right? Pounds, 527 million. And at that time in May 2015, I round it up, sorry. I'm not going to read 10 million, 400, no. 10.5 million has been distributed. 10.5 million has been distributed. Okay? So they started in 2009. In 6 years, 10 million has been distributed. That's the power of it. Okay? Now you may ask me, hey, who's this guy? Or just now that guy, right? Dr. Toby. No one knows him, right? Just in the newspaper that this speaker picked up. But you know John Wesley, right? You all know John Wesley. Why I want to put John Wesley is because John Wesley also have the same concept and same mode. In his time as a priest, right, he don't make 33,000 pounds. He only make 28 pounds a year. That is that time, right? That time, 28 pounds a year. Of course, it's insignificant today, but it's enough for them at that time. He kept himself at 20 pounds. He has pay increase. He's still at 20 pounds. Give the rest away. How did the Lord or the Spirit, speak to him? Simple thing as in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2, right? What is our role? We are supposed to steward what God has given to us. And it says, well done, good and faithful steward. How is he going to implement his life? John Wesley asked. That's why he's doing that. He kept for himself 20 pounds a year and give the rest away. Give the rest away. And this to me is important. I value things only by the price they shall gain in eternity. In eternity. Now, you may say is that, yeah, I'm giving away so that I can help someone. No. Go back to the scriptures and what the scripture said. Paul said this, right? I'm accepting your gifts for what? Not because you can help someone. Of course, you want to help someone and you'll be blessed. You are happy. You are joyful. But there is another return in which you and I cannot imagine. And that is your treasure in heaven. Your treasure in heaven. You accumulate treasures in heaven. Starting by the homework I gave to you just now, Matthew 25, 35, 45. There is one way, right? But Paul reinstated that again, even when Christ is taken to be with the Lord, the Father in heaven, it still repeats. The teaching don't change. That's why we are saying that today. When you are tithing to your church, not because your pastor needs the money, it's for your sake. Now I can say this, you know why? Because I'm not a pastor of this church. Do I get any returns from you? No. But I'm telling you because it's for your own sake. For your own sake. How much is enough? I hope I have unpacked some of the things, right? You all may be, thank you for your patience for listening to these guys. This guy, right? Because I may be saying something that, is totally different from the normal sermons, I know, because it's me, right? It's from Singapore, right? So it's different. But if you may be sleeping, or not listening, or not understanding my Singlish, which try to transfer on Taglish, remember three things. Remember three things as your takeaway. Right? First, I know I apologize first, okay? So forgive me, I know I'm taking a lot of time. Okay? Three things and I'm done, right? Three things. One takeaway, decide. Decide who you want to serve. God or mammon, or money, or possession. Decide for yourself. Okay? Second, remember the circle that I talked about? The closing the circle? I know I didn't do a lot of that. All right? This is my teaser so that the pastor can invite me to come back and speak to you all again, right? Or, no, Bobby Sanchez is here. Okay, Bobby can walk through the closing of the circle. But more important is only when you can close the circle that you can have the overflow. Then you can see the miracles of God happening. And I mean it. Then you can see the miracles God promised you. He will open the doors of heaven of resources. Right? Make a decision that says, enough. Right? But close the circle and say enough, and you see overflow. It is your decision. Third, my talk about generosity. All right? I'm not from this church. I can say a lot about it. I'm part of congregation back in my church as well. It's the same thing because I don't get the return. All right? I hope and I pray, not me, but that the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, will be in each and every one of you to have open hands. It's a term that we use. Open hands means be generous. Make a commitment to be generous for the kingdom of God. Build the community, right? Build the community within yourself, a small group, within the church, right? Within this region and the Philippines. How do you think you can reach the nation, which is your purpose? Remember, we started off with Matthew 28:18-20. How you think you can reach your purpose with one person? You can't. Build a community, starting with open hands. Okay? Thank you.